Well, I really, watching the crazed right-wingers at these town hall meetings this summer, really, as we were finishing this film, and I thought, geez, if all the millions who voted for Obama, if they don't get as active or more active, and have the majority voice be heard, we're not going to get anywhere. So I expect people to leave the theater and make some sort of decision on what they're going to physically do to get involved as citizens in our democracy, our democracies, so that we can turn this around and try to enact the dream that Franklin Roosevelt had for us some 65 years ago.
About a month ago, I was in Michigan with you, and you showed Roger and me, and you came out and you said to people, Flint is going to look pretty good in this movie compared to what it looks like today. And you made this film back in Michigan like you made Roger and me. You made some of your films based out of New York. And what's it? Michigan has I think the highest unemployment rate now. What was it like making this film there as opposed to a media capital?
I think those of us who worked on the film, my whole crew, which is mostly New York based, some California, but I had about 30 to 40 people move from New York and California to Michigan to make this film. And they've been there for over the last year. And with an unemployment rate pushing, official unemployment rate pushing 20%, much higher in reality. I think that making a film in that environment and watching what people were going through, the foreclosures, the layoffs, the suffering, had, I think, a profound effect on those who came to live in Michigan with me while we were making this movie. I think it really probably really contributed a lot to the heart and soul of what we were trying to say, as opposed to maybe if we had been making it in New York or LA and about those people out there. People came and got apartments or houses and became registered voters in Michigan and sort of became part of the community as we made this movie. And I think it probably might be good to ask them, what effect it had on them. But I think just watching them, it had that effect. And if I may, I'd like to just ask the crew, the editors and producers and the man who did the score and all the people who worked on this film. I think they're sitting over there. If you would just stand, please. I'd like to acknowledge the crew. Many of them worked on Bowling for Columbine and Fahrenheit 9/11. A couple worked on Roger and me. A number of them worked on TV. They've been with me since TV Nation back in the 90s. So it's a great group of people, and it's very fortunate to have them, the archival research people, the people who do all the archival work with me. They're incredible. That Franklin Roosevelt.
Gotta ask you about the Roosevelt, but I'd never heard about the second Bill of Rights before.
That's because that had never been seen. You're the first audience to see it. It had been lost. The Roosevelt family didn't even know that he had asked these newsreel cameras to come in, and they didn't film the whole speech. He just wanted them to film that particular part so that there would be a filmed record. He thought he wanted this to be a real centerpiece of what he was planning to do after World War II. And so they filmed it, but it was lost or put away so that people wouldn't see it. And when we called the Roosevelt family and the Roosevelt Library while we were making this film, because I read about it, I read this second Bill of Rights, they said it didn't exist, there's no footage of it. Which then, we love that kind of challenge, and so my archival people went to work and they found this newsreel buried in boxes in South Carolina, unmarked, and they just went through it and they found this. And we called the Roosevelt Library, and now they have for the first time, a copy of this that they never had before. And they're very happy, and I'm very happy that starting next week, the American people, starting tomorrow night, the U.S. premiere will be at the AFL-CIO convention in Pittsburgh. The working people of this country and the others will get to see Roosevelt for the very first time speak these words. That it's heartbreaking, I think, as an American to watch this and to think that for 65 years, these things that he was going to really push for after the war, universal health care, and a right to a job, and a right to go to college, and all these things that he thought were so important that we never got as Americans. And we've lost all this time. And all the pain and suffering that people have to go through, and how we've been held back, too, I think, as a society. Because I know we're better than this. I think we are good people. I love being an American and living in America, and I know we're capable of so much more. And he knew that too. A lot of others know that. And I'm have a sense of real hope in me that as bad as things are now, and as rough as it seems to be for Obama, that we have a better chance than we've ever had that things will get better.
We have time for just a couple of questions from the audience before we have to let our hardworking union crew at this theater go home. Who's got a question? You, sir, in the white. Ma'am, I'm sorry.
She's Canadian, it's either way. Did everybody hear that?
Yeah.
Why is Reagan being portrayed as such a hero, and that's how history seems to be viewing him? Well, I'm very disturbed by that, and that's why that's an important part of this movie for me personally. This revisionism that's gone on after such a brief period of time. It wasn't that long ago. I mean, they want to chisel his face into Mount Rushmore. There's actually a bill that's introduced in Congress each session to remove Roosevelt from the dime and put Reagan on it. And this man presided over the absolute destruction of our country. And it's not that things were, all great and hunky-dory, as Greenspan would say, before Reagan. But boy, from that point on, it was just downhill. And it's amazing when you look at the graphs and at the statistics, how from 1980 on, things just shot up in terms of all the various, not just in terms of what for workers and unions and corporate CEO pay and workers' wages, but all the other societal problems that we've had since then in terms of incarcerations, drug usage, prescription drug usage, and a whole bunch of other things that just have just made us worse off as a people. And Clinton didn't do much to turn that around. In fact, he helped to actually push the Reagan ball down the field. And so my hope is that Obama will be able to stop that and to take this country in a better direction. I say that I recognize, and that's why I put in the film, I want people to know that Goldman Sachs is his #1 contributor. And he brought in Huey, Dewey, and Louie, Geithner, Summers, and Rubin to be his top economic advisor. So I'm going to right now go with a positive attitude about this and say that who better to bring in to fix the mess that they created than the people who created the mess. And but if that's not the case, then I guess that scene actually I put in the movie, that business about Goldman Sachs supporting Obama. I really, that little bit in the movie isn't really for you. That scene is for one viewer.